past century, there have been huge advancements and changes in agriculture and food production. This is thanks to new technologies, the Green Revolution, and new laws like the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and the FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, which are becoming more prominent in America. However, even though our food has become safer to eat, there are still more changes to come that will guarantee better production and, more importantly, help our Earth. In the next 20 years, we want to see the food industry become more sustainable. Agriculture, consisting of both plants and animals, is commonly overlooked but is a leading factor of pollution. Agriculture itself impacts the environment in mainly three ways: water use, land use, and greenhouse gas emissions. In America, 11% of all pollution stems from agriculture, and of that 11%, 36% of that is from livestock. To speak on that is Chloe Waterman, who runs a climate-friendly food program.
Of their waste and everything that those animals produce. So the state of Iowa, for example, the pigs produce more manure than all human waste combined in Iowa, but there's not really a plumbing system in place, right, for those pig factory farms. And so where does that waste go? It seeps into our waterways, it hurts our water resources, our air resources. It really harms the local communities that are around those areas, which are disproportionately communities of color, right? It should not be a surprise to us.
And raising livestock did not just affect the environment through their waste. Animals require more space, and in 2023, California's Proposition 12 was upheld. It required egg-laying hens, pregnant pigs, and calves to be given enough room to stand up and turn around, which doesn't seem like much, but it takes up a significant amount of land. Additionally, 20 to 30% of all freshwater use in the world goes towards livestock. Furthermore, not only does raising livestock affect the environment by having to clear land to grow feed, dusted with pesticides and stripped of the carbon nutrients affect the soil ecology. The animals themselves emit dangerous greenhouse gases that are detrimental to the atmosphere. Again, we have specialist Chloe Waterman to further discuss this topic.
Emissions, we have to look all up and down the supply chain, right? So the first step, Pedro, where these emissions come from is the clearing of land to grow corn and soy for animal feed. So that's land that often is sequestering carbon that is then converted into land to grow, these monocultures of soy and corn. They use pesticides and fertilizer that's energy intensive. That feed then goes to feed the animals. Absolutely, the animals have what are technically called enteric emissions, but sure, that's the burps and the farts of the cows over their lives. These are breathing animals that are living, and they are really high emitters of methane in particular, which is a greenhouse gas.
The only way to fully eradicate this issue is to cut meat out of everyone's diets, but in reality, this is not possible. To talk on other solutions is Mr. Robert Herbstritt, an IB environmental science teacher at Central High School who has a background of forestry from Penn State.
Number one is to maintain undisturbed, what are called riparian strips near his or her streams, right? So basically keep the cattle out of the stream, put fencing up around the stream, and water the cattle either at specific areas along the stream or in another way, because in traditional farming, the cattle get into the stream, they muck it up, sediment runs off, etc. So that's one thing. The other thing is to engage in what's called no-till farming. And no-till farming is just what it sounds like. It's you're planting the seeds in the spring without disturbing the soil or disturbing it in a very minimal way. And that does the same thing, because anytime you disturb the soil, it opens it up, if there's a rainstorm, to erosion. And that's becoming, I think about 75% of the farms in Pennsylvania now have opted to go to no-till farming.
But what about large-scale cattle or livestock farms? It's important that these types of farms become as sustainable as possible to minimize their methane emissions from cows and other animal-based pollutants. One key way to do this is to use the methane produced from the livestock to make it into energy, fueling the farm itself and other nearby homes. To further our understanding on how to make farms more sustainable, specifically livestock farms, we connected with Dave Siebert, a manager at Waseda Farms in Door County, Wisconsin. He says the biggest thing farms can do to become more sustainable is organic farming. He says this can greatly reduce the amount of chemicals being pumped into our soil, air, water, and as a consequence, into our bodies. However, he acknowledges that organic farming is not easy. It costs more, something that farms in America, especially in more rural and isolated areas, can't fully handle. It is also harder to fight the weeds and pests in organic farming, making it, again, physically harder and more expensive. So in the next 20 years, what can our government do? They can enact more legislation that helps shift farming to become more organic. They can offer farms more money or other incentives to help with that switch. Once this is proven to work, it can become a mandate, guaranteeing all farms help save our earth.